edge computing, also big thing. I mean, this has nothing to do, maybe nothing directly to do with blockchain technology, but of course it has some relationships with AI. If you talk about industrial automation, if you talk about robotics, we had a lot of projects. I mean, we're also doing a lot of projects in that area. So naturally, I come from the area of robotics and automation. So I still am following up of what is going on there. And a lot of projects have been done in this area as well. And together with IoT, the Internet of Things, and edge computing, and everything related to that. So on the industrial landscape, we could also see a lot of projects in 2023 regarding digital twins, meaning that everything has like or every physical object has a virtual or digital representation, and that physical object exists during their life cycle together with that digital representation. So if you change something on this side, also the digital representation will change, and vice versa. These are also quite interesting trends which happened in 2023. And yeah, I mean, regarding blockchain technology, we can also mention non-fungible tokens, NFTs. This was, I think, in my impression, non-fungible tokens, there was a big hype on that in 2022. 2023, it became less and less, and everybody was like saying, because lots of people were excited about non-fungible tokens, about which is a mechanism, or which is a kind of solution for ownership, for verification of ownership of products, particularly when we are talking about the tokenization of objects, for instance, the tokenization of real estate, or the tokenization of digital assets, meaning you can actually own, you are able to own certain fractions of a physical object, yes, of a physical or a digital object. You can own certain fractions of this and distribute it. And for that purpose, of course, it is necessary to know who is this authentic, who has the true ownership of something, and this can be maintained. This can be obtained and maintained with so-called non-fungible tokens, which is, of course, strongly related to cryptocurrencies, smart contracts. So these are usually set up with a certain standard of a smart contract, and then we and which has certain properties, and then it's called NFTs. So imagine this as a kind of metadata of a physical or a digital object, which you can purchase and own. Yeah, it could be, for instance, also some consumer good, like for instance, take for instance sports shoes from Nike or something like that, or it could be some valuable asset. It could be a diamond or something like that. So normally you get some kind of ownership certificates, but on the contrary, you can actually have an NFT which is connected to that object, and then you can actually prove your ownership, because this is then written and embedded on a blockchain, and it always remains there. Everybody can look into it, and you can say, okay, when I sell a car, I could sell a car together with an NFT, and then I could prove my ownership, that I own this car, and then you can see the whole history, who owned it before me, who owned it before that, and so on. So this is something you can see the whole record of things. And this was also something, I think, a topic which was particularly still popular at the beginning of 2023, but then it came more and more to the background and was like then we started more talking about Web3. Web3 is still, I would say, a big trend. It's still we're still at the very, very beginning. Also regarding blockchain technology, some people say, oh, okay, this was a trend, this was a hype. I don't see it that way. I think we are still at the very beginning of blockchain technology. We're also at the very beginning of AI, because it starts to get interesting as soon as those application, as soon as adoption takes place. So this means as soon as blockchain technology, for instance, is adopted in the market, as soon as we have real applications such as loyalty applications based on blockchain technology. I'm mentioning this as a particular example because I am working on this kind of solution with our startup ReadyMe, and there we are doing a lot of things. I mean, we are developing a system which is based on blockchain technology. We don't emphasize that actually, but it's running on the back end. But we have like digital assets, digital loyalty instruments which run on the blockchain, which are issued on the blockchain, validated on the blockchain. I think as soon as these kind of systems, for instance, would go live, and we would see more and more of them. Also regarding rewards, I mean, Starbucks, for instance, is a good example. They have, for instance, introduced a reward system called Odyssey, which is also running on the blockchain, on a layer 2 blockchain. And they're even making money with this. Same holds true for luxury brands such as Bulgari, such as Dolce & Gabbana. These are some examples. Companies experimenting, doing pilot projects with blockchain technology. This is happening. This is happening in 2022, 2023, right now. This is happening right now. So I think we will definitely see more of these things being adopted and going live. Of course, not only in that sector, but also in other sectors which maybe not that visible for the average person, such as in logistics. Tracking of goods in logistics. This would be a good example, a very, very high quality example for using blockchain technology. So everywhere where you have a trust problem, you would have a trust problem where you work with partners, where you collaborate with partners. Blockchain technology could be a good solution. And regarding artificial intelligence, coming back to that, I would even say we are at the very beginning. We are at the very beginning because let us recap. What was actually the aim of artificial intelligence? The real, like the theoretical idea was to have a kind of artificial general intelligence, which means something comparable to a human, even like a superhuman, a system, a model which can do anything a human can do, and beyond that, and even have an own notion or understanding of what it is doing. We are not there yet, and I think even though with solutions like ChatGPT, and just recently, I think yesterday, there was this announcement of Google, who now also developed a very similar model called Gemini, which is, I think, based on their on their solution called BART. BART was introduced, and now they have Gemini. This is somehow connected. I don't know exactly the details of this, but we can see more and more competitors coming up and competing with these models, saying, okay, now we have a model which can do the same thing, which is even better. Then we have, of course, also been able to watch in this year. There's a company, for instance, in Germany. It was what's it called? It's Aleph Alpha. It was just funded. They just received a very large funding recently. They're also developing this kind of large language model, but for a very, very specific application, for business applications, because this, what you have seen with ChatGPT, is more like for the normal, I mean, I would say for the daily activities, for general business, for research activity. Even I am using ChatGPT almost on a daily basis. So I got used to it. But I would say it is not as good as I would like it to be. It is not as good. So I think we should be careful here. We should not exaggerate. Lots of people tend to exaggerate and say, oh, wow, this is going to be really big. It's going to change everything. Of course. I mean, I agree. Generative AI will be embedded in many applications which will come to the market. Everybody has to support this. But currently, it's my personal opinion here. It's not as good it is good at certain tasks, but maybe not as good as other tasks. For the tasks I'm using ChatGPT, it could be improved. So when I work with ChatGPT, I tend to talk with the model like I'm talking to a colleague, like I'm talking to a human. You can talk to it with a human, like a human, and say, "Oh no, come on, you can do better than that. I don't agree. Try again," and so on. Yeah, you can talk like that, and then you can actually try to fine tune your results. A big thing was, for instance, these. Or let me put it this way: I think AI will actually change a lot of things, but I think it will be the bigger difference will be made by people who can use AI, who know how to use these models. I mean, they are like the next big jobs where, like, they talked about prompt engineers in 2023. Maybe you heard of this. Prompt engineers or people, or AI, so-called AI whisperers, people who know how to optimize the input of these models. So, I mean, like the average person wouldn't really know what to say. Okay, write an email. I want to write an email to a project partner. Please give me some suggestions or something like that. But a prompt engineer would know exactly what to post into this as a prompt in order to optimize the result. Yeah, so these kind of people are really, really sought after. So and very, very popular on the market, and this will even be within the next, I would say within the next 2024, 2025. I will talk about this later, but even then it will become more and more popular. Yeah, I think also maybe finally mentioning another topic could be in 2023, we talked a lot about Metaverse. I mean, we have to mention this because when we talk about, for instance, the Facebook came up, of course, with the Metaverse, and of course, they changed their name to Meta. We all have seen that. And I do believe, of course, that this will. I was a bit skeptic. I have to admit, at the beginning, I was a bit skeptic regarding Metaverse. I wasn't even really interested in this. But when we have the right tools and which are convenient for the user, which provide a very convenient and very nice user journey, I think then these kind of technologies become more and more interesting and will become more and more adopted in the market. You can take, for instance, this Meta. There is these mixed reality, so-called XR headsets. You've probably seen this. I mean, people who are doing games, gaming and these kind of things. This Meta Quest 3 just came out, just I think 1 or 2 months ago. My son bought one of these, and he has, and I thought, oh, okay, why are you spending so much money for this kind of thing? And then he said, wait, don't have any prejudice on this. You should try this. And I said, okay, yeah. And then, I mean, I was trying this, and then there was, and the experience, I went like, wow, I was shocked. I was shocked. Why was I? Because the experience that I made, we could say this is like the metaverse experience, or maybe the first steps to this. It was very realistic. I would say it was almost as realistic as real life. I would say it's comparable when you're standing there on the top of a, I don't know, 70-story building and looking down. My hands start to sweat. I think, and I was not, I was afraid to take the next step there. So it was, for me, it was the same feel, I would say almost the same feeling as really being there. So I said, I just recently experienced this just 1 week ago. And I said, wow, I mean, this is going to change a lot. This is going to accelerate adoption of the metaverse. So now I understand this a bit better. But of course, when you talk about the Generation Z, this Generation Z, of course, and the Generation Alpha, these will be the people who, I mean, they grow up with these things. They really experience this. For them, it's quite normal. But for me, I belong to Generation X, so it's more. I mean, not a lot of people, I would say, in my generation have the opportunity or to get in touch, to get hands-on on these things. But since I'm a very, very technology-driven guy, I've always been very, very enthusiastic about technology, and so therefore I always try to stay up to date here. But yes, Irina, I think this was a short summary, I think, about what my impression was in 2023.